Firstly, I would like to say thank you to the Penang government and the Penang Institute for this invitation to speak in Penang, something that I have not done for quite a long time. Certainly, I have not spoken to such a big crowd. And I think the big crowd of today is because they are interested in where Malaysia is going. Quo Vadis Malaysia. Kemanakah hala tuju Malaysia? Where are we going? That is the question in everyone's mind today in Malaysia. Where are we going? We are very confused at this moment. But I think if we want to know where we are going, we have to know where we come from. If you don't know where you come from, you may think you are going ahead, but in fact, you are going backwards. At this moment, we cannot be sure whether we are going ahead or backwards because of the things that are happening in Malaysia today. Now, where do we come from? Well, we were a British colony, in fact, for a long time. Kedah was only a British colony for about 50 years. And at that time, we felt that we should be ruling our own country. I will not give the details of the struggle, but when we sought independence, most people say that this country will be reduced to shambles if it becomes independent. And the reason for that is because this country has a multiracial population. And at that time, the only citizens, most of the citizens of Malaysia were only the rakyat of the sultans. So the suggestion was, from within the country and also from outside, is that since the Malays would be in the majority and would rule the country, then they would seize the property or nationalize the property of the non-Malays. That was what most people said at that time, including the British. And the British were so concerned about this that they insisted that we give a commitment that we will not do anything to people who are not indigenous to the country. So the future looked very bleak for Malaysia at that time. If we become independent, there's bound to be riots and conflicts, and the whole country would be destroyed. Certainly, it was not expected to grow. In all multiracial countries, there would be conflicts between the people of different races. And if between them there are disparities, this would be pointing towards conflicts even more. But as you know, this country, upon becoming independent, remained stable and grew by leaps and bounds if you compare with many other countries which became independent together with us. Of course, this was the period after the Second World War, when most of the empires were broken up and many other members were given their freedom. In Asia, in Africa, and in many other places, independence was what everybody wanted. And they believed that with independence, they would be better off. So when they see Malaysia attempting to become independent, they concluded that this is going to result in conflicts between the different races, and the country would go to the dogs, so to speak. But as we all know, the conflicts there were, but it didn't result in instability, in a broken peace, and it in fact became a country that outshone many of the other countries which became independent together with us. And the reason for this was due to the first Prime Minister, Tunku Abdul Rahman. He was wise enough that he could formulate a way of preventing conflicts between the races. His idea was that we should share this country between the different races in this country. We should share the wealth, we should share the political power in this country. So, because of this idea of sharing and the willingness to accept more non-Malays as citizens, this country achieved peace and stability. No one can deny that. Look at the countries which became independent together with us. Where are they now? There are conflicts. Even people of the same race, ethnically the same, but because they were of different tribes or different religion, they fight each other. They became unstable, and therefore they couldn't grow. But here in Malaysia, the people were so different that it is unthinkable at that time that they could live together at peace. We have the Malays who are Muslims with their own language, their own culture, and their own achievements. Then we have the Chinese with the Chinese language. In fact, they used to speak many different dialects at that time. And they were of different religion, different culture, etc. And so it is also with the Indians. We are so very different. In every way we were different. Even in the terms of location of these people. The Malays were in the rural areas planting paddy or catching fish. The Chinese were in the cities and towns, and the Indians were in the estates. They don't even live together. So how could Malaysia become a stable country? How could it develop and grow? But the fact remains that despite this diversity, we have managed to live together. We have attained a certain degree of stability and peace, and we have developed. We have developed so much that we became ambitious and wanted to become a developed country. That is something that we must always remember. That was where we came from. A country divided into different states, into different communities, has actually become united, formed a federation, and the people were given citizenship, and they elected their own leaders, because we adopted a democratic system. The essence of democracy is the right to choose your own leaders. That is the essence. Well, there are other things, of course, today which are associated with democracy, like men marrying men and women marrying women and all that. That is something else. But the essence of democracy is that if you don't like a leader, you can overthrow him merely by casting votes. And we have done this before. The leader of UMNO, the founder of UMNO, was Dato' Onn Jaafar. He should have been the first Prime Minister of Malaysia. But he didn't, because he brought along a proposal that was not acceptable to UMNO, and he decided he would resign and form another party. Nothing happened. He has his right to resign. He has the right to form another party. And UMNO had the right to carry on with a new leader. And that was Tunku Abdul Rahman, fortunately. So overthrowing leaders is not something new in Malaysia. Of course, it's very common all over the world. All over the world, they overthrow leaders. Of course, the more violent ones actually assassinate their leaders. We are not like that. We don't like killing, we don't like to assassinate anyone. But there were times when we had to overthrow leaders. You know, even Tunku Abdul Rahman, in a way, retreated because he felt that people no longer wanted him. Nothing happened. No shooting, no assassination. He went away, and the country carried on with the democratic system. And many other aspirants, people who wanted to become prime minister, and they failed by the workings of the democratic process. So now we know where we were and how we have progressed. And we find that every leader that we elected to run the government, they seem to be focused on the development of the country. Yes, of course, we have our differences. Of course, the opposition will not agree. They didn't agree with me, that's fine. I felt that I need somebody to tell me that I was wrong, because otherwise I would think that I was doing everything right. So in a democracy, the opposition has a role. The government has a role. If you don't have the opposition, you don't have a mirror to look at how ugly you are. That's what the opposition is all about. Of course, sometimes the opposition may become very personal. You can sit together, you can talk together. But at the base of it, there is this desire to see that this country develops and give a good life to the people, whether they be opposition or the government. Of course, the opposition have got their own ideas. The government also have got its own ideas. But it didn't come to the point where we need to have a revolution, where we need to go violently and overthrow the government, despite the fact that people like me was not very well liked by Kit Siang and his son. They never liked me. But I would like to assure them that I listen to what they say. And if I had to reject them, I rejected them. If I thought that they were any good, I plagiarized. I make it my own idea. But what is a fact is that despite our minimal knowledge about democracy and its working, we did manage to run this country and have elections, and we behave ourselves in the Dewan, where we have debates and all that. Always remember that in some countries, they fight. They actually fight each other in the Dewan. And in one case, they brought some dirty things and poured it over the heads of the government. But in Malaysia, we are nasty sometimes, but not so nasty that we cannot, debate and find answers to our problems. So for me, having the opposition is a good thing. Of course, I need to have 2/3 majority. But I didn't use money to get 2/3 majority. I may use other things, but not money. I don't. You see, when you believe that you can become popular through giving people money, then you'll find that the people will demand more and more money in order to support you.